All right. Let's see what this yahoo says.
This isn't a normal countertop situation, right? What happened is that you had your cabinet, you had electrical that you had to run through this thing. We had to put, you know, tiles on this that lit up. You had to put your stone on.
Oh yeah, this is like totally good.
That's what I'm saying. It's not just the countertop, right? So this is really a specialty. This is really the documentation of the kitchen counter. Right, the kitchen island, if anything.
Yeah.
The situation board.
Yeah, it changes, you know. But in this case right here, we've got the island. This was the original island from way back, probably like maybe 7-8 months ago or something I drew.
So this board has been here for almost the whole job.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It just something that we could keep. We draw everything in the exact measurement that it's going to be, so that we can really feel it and see what needs to happen. So this was my prediction. It kind of changed a little bit. Then it ended up being this at the end, which is the same as all the corrections right here. And so,
is that what it ended up being at the end?
Except for that, it's not at a 45.
Except for what this?
Except for the slab
black. The black.
No, we got that one on there. I got that one on there. But this light. See the slab light?
I see, yes. The light itself wasn't mitered.
Yeah, I didn't miter it up on top, and I didn't miter on the bottom.
Yeah.
I thought that it was going to glow better, like if I did that.
Yeah.
I did that, but it ended up being really hard to seal and everything, so I had to keep it square. And then that's when I did
routed out that area.
Routed out and which actually was like way better anyway. Than a 45. What the heck was I thinking?
Right, because then
it looked good on paper, but once I started doing it, then
you're like, I don't need everything.
But if I draw it in the exact size, because then you could see all the clearances exactly what it's going to be. So,
did the waterfall go as planned?
The waterfall is exactly 4 1/8, and it went exactly as planned.
What's cool and what we're going to see right now is, again, the reason why we do this, because we're going to see the black Formica happen, right? We're going to see the steel that gets put in there, right? We're going to see the little build up and ultimately getting to the slab.
Yeah, the slab like that. So what we've done is we've installed, or we're going to install, this other side. This goes on here like this, right there. I'm gonna put a plate down there, pressure treated plate, bolt it down, and then pad it out to where it accepts our 5/8 for our core of the waterfall. Right here is done. We've cut the receptacle, which we'll be doing over there too. We've built a wall on the and filled up this right here. This is the wall we built out of 2x4, and then this is all dried material, so it's not moving on us. And then this is 1/4 inch plywood. Then the 5/8 plywood goes right here, which creates the core of the waterfall. I'm gonna cut this receptacle in. I'm gonna put a hole in every one of these corners. Use dried material and stuff like this, you know, where kind of like in cabinetry stuff, you want to use dried material when you have like build outs and everything, because it just is already dried. There's no moisture, or the content of moisture is really low, and so it's gonna, you know, do better than trapping it inside there all wet, you know. Because green material is wet, and the moisture, if you trap it, it could be a problem. It could rot itself.
Yeah, basically the electrical is going to start to get ran.
Yeah, I had to figure it out. I think at this point I was just no electrician, no kind of direction. You know, I had to like figure out how I was going to lay out and drill the whole cabinets and everything. And this was the very first time I pulled everything out and said, okay, I can do it like this, you know. Feed for the transformers and a lead for the RGB wire. and there's the wall, and now we're gonna put 2x on it. I had to research and look into this where I needed to drill these things, because the transformer is going to be right to the back side of this, and I'm going to have to use this bay and that bay. So I had to figure out where I'm going to get the wires down, and I got it here. All right, well, we've got the black Formica on. We did that because we wanted to make sure that underneath here it's all black, looks nice and clean, comes all the way out to here, gives it a little bit of meat, and so our slab light's gonna go right into that at a 45 and come up. And here's our chase holes for the wires to go down into underneath the cabinet, which is, that's where we're gonna put the drivers back in there. And so now, you know, we got all this cut in, electrical plugs in there. This is the side, the Waterfall. This is temporary right here, just to hold everything stiff, because we only had some 5/8 ply sticking out of there. And so that'll do that one, and we'll get the next phase in a second. We have an overhang right here, and that overhang needs to be right here, look underneath there. That's the knee space. So the overhang needs to be stiffened up. So what we did is we put 1-inch plywood, but we also put 1-inch 1x2 aluminum by 1/8 inch thick, which is pretty rigid, and we glued it and screwed it. All this is glued and screwed too, the plywood, and this is glued and screwed, and it cantilevers out. The knee space starts about right here in this area, so it's that much cantilevered out, and then that piece goes end to end, you know, which has support over there, and this one has support here. So I just dissected it to where we're supporting it from here to here in the middle, and then from there to there it's supported on that end, you know, and everything is flat and ready for the 1/2 inch plywood to be on top. And I'm going to glue and screw that, and I'll show you when I come back what that looks like. And then after that, we're ready for the slab light. This Waterfall comes down all the way down to the bottom, so I had to add this to it and continue that sub top all the way down, because this is all going to be 2 1/8 coming all the way down to the ground, and then has a return back on the inside. So I had to do it on that side, I had to do it on that other side, and I also had to do it on this side right here. All that's just preparation for the Waterfall edge.
And this is, we're gonna start going through the steel, but because your cantilever is out right here and you're supporting, you know, some heavy stone, it needs to be stiff.
I think that if it was, I always like to put the steel in there, some kind of support in there, because it's better safe than sorry, and you only have one shot at it. And if an overhang comes out, and I'm just thinking somebody jumping up there and like feeling like they can sit up there, you know, like real quick. And so, I mean, that's all it takes is for it to crack or whatever, you know.
Got it.
That's why I put the steel all the time, you know, like, even though this is not that much, and a lot of people would say, oh, you could just use the 1-inch plywood and everything. But when you do that, you're just going off the plywood, and no plywood ever is straight exactly where you want it to be. Plywood has its own way it wants to sit and everything. So I use plywood, but I use steel to make the plywood go where I want it to go. And the steel is backing up the plywood as well. So they're working together, one to hold straight and one to hold strong. So that's what I pretty much did on this one. And I just found the easiest way to do that in the span that I had right here on this island. This way. Has to be.
I think you said that because at that point you had tried a couple of different
Oh
ways
yeah, I'm
to
like
run
flipping the
this
thing around.
Yeah.
Flipping it around. So we have to run one down lower and that, and then skip it to get all this in there. And then it goes up here. What I'm trying to do here is see where this is gonna go in here like this. So I think it's gonna end up being, pick it up here just to keep it above the fray. Moral support. Okay. Okay, now this guy goes like this. As you can see, we got the slab light on. It looks really nice. We changed this one piece from last time because I didn't like the way it looked with the miter, so I ended up having to cut this square. I did it with the router right here, all the way around, all the way on both sides. And so now the slab light will be cut square right there. So this goes in there like that. So it's more straighter, it's got a better color on it. And then so now we're on the top, we're running back and forth.
On a level, like on a scale of 1 to 10 of like just a pain in the ass, how was it figuring out the pattern, how you were gonna run your electrical? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being like it was no sweat at all, it was a breeze, 10 being like it was a pain in the ass the whole time.
You know what? I think everything is the same, really. You just have to start like, it's hard to think of something the day that it needs to be done. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's got to be done now. What am I doing? And what it is that you have time to think about it before it's being done. So like I'm like a 2-3 month person thinking of something before it's actually done. Like I've been thinking about how to do it already, and so when I get here, I'm almost like halfway there. It feels like, okay. You know what I mean? So I think everything is kind of like the same. You know, like sometimes it's easier than others, but for the most part, I think if you start thinking about it early enough, you'll probably get through it. Like I have a lot of stuff going on right now that I'm going to be doing that I've been thinking about for a long time.
Right.
You know, and that'll help me get through it. You know, because if it was that day and stuff, there would be no way. You can't think that. You know, it takes a while for it to you realize it. And you know, so that's the kicker of doing that kind of stuff. You know, like the slab light, this thing is not something that we would do on every job. By the time this happened, I've already researched it and seen some stuff. So I almost like put myself in position to succeed. And then it was hard.
Yes.
So then on a scale, then on a scale to 1 to 10 on that, this was probably somewhere in the, I'd say 7, 8. Yeah. It's difficult. It's not impossible, but
no, but you're continuously having to stay ahead of where you're at.
Exactly.
And that's what you're saying.
Yeah, Okay, we're getting ready for the countertop to be installed on top of the slab light. We actually have to shim it up, so we've created these little shims out of the clear plastic. Went and got some remnant pieces at E-Plastics, and so we're going to be gluing them down right there. you know, in these places here, it might be, probably end up being something like that. Just so it's on a nice flat surface. And we're gonna glue them down, and we're gonna shoot them. See that mark right there is this laser is actually telling me where it goes. See, that's a little bit low right here. If we put it right here, ends up being a little bit 16th on it here. And we're gonna be caulking it down with this clear also. So then we put this on there and badunga, it's right on. So that's what we got to do all the way across here. And so once we get that done, we'll come back and show you. Slab light varied a little bit in thickness. So, and it was kind of surprising. I thought they would be more consistent, but they were up and down, up and down, up and down, but they pretty much didn't go beyond. You know what I'm saying? Mm. So they kind of had their little cup and little, you know, so it was kind of, so when I put the shims, and we shimmed it all, which I'll show it in a minute, but that's when I realized that the slab light was different thicknesses. You know, they're really because we're perfect. If you put down anything on our stuff, we're perfect. Right. You know, and then we put them down, and then we weren't perfect anymore. We had to shim around. Yeah. Place these shims where we needed them, and this is our target right there. Where, see that where it goes right on there. So sometimes we needed a little bit more than others, but we put them all around here. So when they put down the slab, that there's no spot where it's gonna sink in or something. And then the guys, when they do it, they'll glue it down, but these are like little pedestals to where it keeps the slab nice and flat and true, and it won't. If somebody gets up there, it's not going to break. And you can go pick any one. We've checked every one. Every one is right on the monkey.
You have your countertops, right? Your countertops are in. This is the section where you're calling out, you know, the bow, right? So let's talk about the bow really quick. What happened is that you put your cabinet in, you were ready to go, and then once you got the countertop was bowed towards the end.
No,
so you had to edge it.
What happened? Well, what happened is the countertops had a bow in them, and it must have been a bow in the slab. So when they cut the countertop, it didn't lay flat. It was like kicked up, you know, in the back. And then at the shop, they matched that kick, you know, so it was up like 3/16 of an inch. It wouldn't be level right there. And I said, no, you got to level it. So I made them cut that miter again, and I pushed it down, and we glued it right there. And on this right here, it's not going anywhere because it's all like epoxied and everything. And there's a little flex in the stone. You know, it wasn't. This is a man-made product, right? A sisal stone. I think that this material got left outside or something, and because you're not supposed to have this material outside. I think at the slab place, it got left outside, it got warped, and they used it at this house. Right. I mean, and because it was the same thing on this other side. Right. 1/2 of an inch. So that's what we got right now. So I wanted to document this because if this is an issue later and this comes apart somehow because it's just been bowed. I don't know if it was sitting out or what, but then at least I have it documented.
They're cutting your slab because remember once they put a portion of the slab on, they said, hey, you're off over here, and you said, I'm not off.
Yeah, I think this one was the backsplash. I think this one's backsplash.
This right here is the
I
backsplash.
think so, but yeah, they were saying that I was off over there, but they cut the.
They made the wrong.
Well, it was
They
just,
had the wrong dimension.
Yeah, there was 4 inches, not 4 1/8. Like, we're telling me about where? Here?
Ahí, hazle arriba, despacito. Ahí va. Soft to plummet. Nivel, level.
Is it plum?
Look at
Si tiene espacio para...
el guato. Abajo. El lápiz, dice. No. Ponte una pinche marca ahí, güey. Ya, pues, ponemos tape.
You guys do this so that it doesn't crash on it? Doesn't. Yeah, it's careful, dude.
He's tied it.
So we've backlit this crystal slab, and it was quite a feat. A treat to work with the slab light. It was a lot of connections, and it was a lot of planning, you know. We're able to change the colors to any color of the rainbow. There's 5 drivers here, and each driver could be a different color. Sometimes we move those colors around, it kind of looks cool, but that's it. Slap that.